think I just heard Tom Tillis whistle. Where is he? As you may know, I am Susan Tillis. I'm so excited to be here. I've known and been married to Tom Tillis for over 27 years. And over the last year, I've gotten the privilege and the distinct honor to travel on behalf of this campaign, Tom Tillis for U.S. Senate, to help spread our message across the state and really across this country about the importance of this race. Tom Tillis has been and led the conservative revolution here in North Carolina. I am ready to send him to Washington, D.C. to lead this conservative revolution in the United States of America, and he will be our next U.S. Senator from North Carolina. Please help me welcome the love of my life, my husband, Tom Tillis.
Before she leaves the stage, everybody, Susan's birthday is on Monday, and once again, we'll be working. So everybody just wish me happy birthday real quick. Happy birthday, sweetie. Yay! I would actually sing it, but I'm afraid there's a tracker out there somewhere. Sweetie, thank you for that. Renee, Congresswoman Elmers, Carolyn Justice, you talk about a lion in the legislature, or a lioness in the legislature. She was just this incredible leader that I learned so much from, and I really miss having her there, but I love having her be a part of the leadership of the North Carolina State Republican Party. I want to thank you all for being here today. I'm not going to speak too long, but I do want to tell you a little bit about history and a little bit about where we are, I think, at this point in time in history. I was thinking back a few weeks ago about an America where many nations no longer respect us. An America where the leadership raises our taxes, challenges our religious freedom, harms our economy, harms our ability to trade with other nations. And although that's an America you could argue exists today, it was actually the America, or that new nation, that those colonies, when they were dealing with a tyrannical king who inspired this brand new nation to come together and rise up in revolution for something different. And it's very interesting that if you look at the American Revolution, and you look at a pivotal war, a battle that was fought in 1778, it was fought in North Carolina. In fact, it was fought over back where I come from, over in Mecklenburg County area, where it was named the Hornet's Nest, where Cornwallis acknowledged that that was more or less the point where the Southern campaigns of the Revolution began to turn around. We began to turn around the Revolutionary War, a war that we won, a war that created the greatest nation that's ever existed. Now fast forward 230 more years, we're in a similar situation at this point in time in history, a similar situation in this nation. We've got a president who does not respect our religious freedom. We've got a president who is unbounded by the tax burden he wants to place on working Americans. We have a president who wants to regulate us to a point to where we can no longer compete, and a president who's perfectly satisfied to have the United States not respected by nations like Russia and Iran and other tyrannical leaders around the world. We've got to raise up and create a new revolution to fight this leader. And we began that, and it's interesting, back in 2010, November 20th of 2010, I was nominated to be the Speaker of the House in that room by my caucus, Carolyn being one of them. We started that revolution back then. After President Obama was elected in 2008, it didn't take long for North Carolinians to recognize that we made a mistake in the selection of that president. And in 2010, we saw majorities come into the North Carolina legislature. And in 2012, we saw a Republican governor and a Republican lieutenant governor join us in the leadership of this state. Historic for this state. North Carolinians recognized that we needed a change in North Carolina, and with that change, we've done great things. Whether it's the unemployment rate coming from 10.4% down to 6.4%, whether it's putting 220,000 people back to work in net jobs over that time frame, whether it's actually standing up for kids, get them the best education they can, whether it's in public school or private schools or charter schools. Doing those kinds of things are really turning North Carolina around. Now contrast that against what Kay Hagan has done over the last 6 years since she's been in the legislature, in the U.S. Senate. She's voted with Barack Obama 96% of the time. Ladies and gentlemen, do any of you think that a senator from North Carolina votes with President Obama 96% of the time? Do you think that North Carolina wants a senator who came before you 24, 25 different times and promised you that if you liked your doctor, you could keep him? And if you liked your health care, you could keep it? Let's change our senator and keep our doctor. Let's start here. And why is it so important that we start here? Because North Carolina is considered that majority-making state, that 51st state, that state that will create a Republican majority in the U.S. Senate. That's why you see me on TV a lot more than you probably want to. And contrary to the candidate who owns a yacht, I'm for the people who work on the yachts. I'm for the people who are struggling every single day to make ends meet and know that every time you raise taxes or every time you raise health care, it's the difference between them paying a light bill and not. That's what this race is about. This race isn't about the rich. This race is about the middle-class worker, the struggling farmers, the single mom, the struggling dad, the people who desperately need government to get out of the way and to let America work its magic so everybody has the opportunity to realize the American dream. And that's the last thing I want to leave you with, because there's a lot of reasons you could have a campaign speech now and leave people with a lot of fear. I fear for my nation. I fear for the nation's future based on this current leadership. But I'm not one who believes that it has to be this way, and I'm not one who believes that it takes decades to repair the damage. I tell people everywhere I go, I know what it's like to be in this situation. Many of you were alive back in, some of you weren't, back in 1979. In 1979, I graduated from high school. I didn't go to college. I was living by myself, living in a trailer park, working in a warehouse. Hadn't even started going to school at night yet. And I lived at a time when Jimmy Carter had taken this nation to a depth not quite where we are now, but pretty close to it. Where Russia didn't respect us, where hostages were being taken in American embassies in the Middle East, where energy prices were through the roof, where unemployment was high, where there was a general sense that we would never go back to that nation that we once were. But over the course of a few short years after the election of a great president, Ronald Reagan, and leadership in Washington, Republicans and Democrats, recognized that we needed to do something differently. This nation turned around virtually overnight. And I went from that trailer park to a professional job, 15 years of going to night school to get my degree, to become a partner at Price Waterhouse, a partner at IBM, the Speaker of the House, and now running for the U.S. Senate. I am a living example that the American dream can be realized for the people, that kid, that family living in the trailer park today, provided that we get the right leadership in Washington to make it happen. And that's our responsibility. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. To the volunteers in the victory effort, to the precinct captains, to the people who are boots on the ground, getting out our message, thank you. We have a lot of work to do, but this revolution can be won. We started in 2010. We need to continue the fight in 2014. We need to bring a Republican majority back to the U.S. Senate, working with a Republican majority in the U.S. House, and get this nation back on track. With your help and with your prayers, we'll get it done. Thank you all. God bless.